I get it that Microsoft tries to look like the good guys. They obviously all the time want to look like the good guys, like they don't ever do anything wrong. They're for the players, they're for the gamers, they're for the developers. They're for all the good things. The problem is that's not always the case, right? Like, I mean, we can look at things a certain way and kind of get an idea and judge for ourselves exactly what type of player Microsoft is. Now, we can sit there and go, like for me, for instance, right? I think them buying Bethesda was a brilliant move. It gets them exclusive games. It's business. But at the end of the day, it's 100% a dick move. It just is. Taking away a company that makes multiplats and is well known for making multiplats, and making them that's a complete dick move, right? It's business though, so it's brilliant. I love it. I think it's great. I think that it's also a dick move when Sony gets Final Fantasy VII remake and pays for exclusivity there. But I also think that it's brilliant and a pro PlayStation move. So I'm for these types of dick moves, right? Like you can just kind of look at it. Look at Kojima, right? He is most likely going to be making a Xbox exclusive now, regardless of what anybody thinks about that. That's probably a big move made to look PlayStation look inferior, or like they had some kind of issue there or something like that, because hey, he's normally worked with PlayStation in the past, and so it looks like a dick move. They also would bring him on stage at Microsoft conferences to kind of show up PlayStation as well. Same thing with like when Microsoft brought Ted Price from Insomniac Games up on stage to announce Sunset Overdrive. That's a huge dick move. They're trying to screw over PlayStation, make PlayStation look bad. So this stuff happens quite a bit, and now we've got an idea that something else happened as well, but it didn't exactly pan out. And it just goes to show you can have trillions of dollars in the bank, but that doesn't mean that every company is going to want to sell out to you. So I thought this was very interesting, and this would have made PlayStation look horribly bad. So I'm glad that this didn't exactly come out the way that it did anyway. So with that being said, I want to talk to you guys and kind of jump into it. What's up, everybody? It's me, Crap Gaming. Slap that like button for me, will you? Happy 4th of July. Slap that like button. We slap that like button around these parts. Make sure you guys hit the like button, share it out, all that kind of good stuff as we rebuild and that kind of stuff. So I really do appreciate it, the support and stuff like that. So with that being said, Housemarque, right? We know that they've been bought out by Sony. But according to this, it looks like Microsoft might have tried to buy them at one point, because according to a new report from them, major players were interested in purchasing them as well. So Housemarque was recently acquired by Sony as part of its PlayStation Studios, but according to CEO of the Finnish studio, Sony wasn't the only company that was interested in a purchase. Now, following the announcement of the deal between Sony and Housemarque, Finnish outlet Interview actually talked about the acquisition, and according to the co-founder, multiple major companies expressed interest in the development studios. Usual suspects, he said in the interview, that is, major players in the field from China, Sweden, and the United States. I have to say that there is a very special spring behind us, that the fact that we have been competing even feels a little surreal. The co-founder added that the deal gives us financial freedom to develop the company towards the best gaming studios in the world. It allows us to create new gaming experiences that are even bigger and more ambitious. Major players from above mentioned countries could possibly include Tencent, the Embracer Group, and possibly Microsoft. Terms of the deal between Sony and Housemarque, including the acquisition costs, were not disclosed due to contractual commitments. Now, Sony did announce a deal with Housemarque last week, and they're excited to finally join the PlayStation Studios, according to them, upon the announcements. And he said, and I quote, "This gives our studio a clear future and a stable opportunity to continue delivering on gameplay-centric approaches, while still experimenting with new methods of narrative delivery and pushing the boundaries of this modern art form. Locally here in Helsinki, this means that we will officially expand the PlayStation family to a growing industry hub and secure the legacy of the oldest game studio in Finland." Interestingly enough, while announcing the deal last week, Sony might have also self-leaked the long-rumored purchase of popular remake studio Bluepoint Games. Now, Sony has yet to officially announce this deal, and Housemarque recently released the PS5 exclusive Returnal last month, the studio's first AAA title. And that was a really good game. Not really my type of game, but really I thought a good game. for a lot of other people. And what I mean by that is, it's a very tough game. It's a very, people that like roguelikes and stuff like that. I had never tried one before. But I tried it and I thought it was good, but then I got stuck in a part and just kind of moved on. Ratchet and Clank came out, other stuff come out, so it was like something that I didn't really want to kind of get bogged down into playing too much. But this was very interesting because it does seem like Microsoft very much tried to go in there and get themselves a piece of the pie, so to speak. And what a slap in the face that would have been for Sony, if you think about it, right? Like going in there, undercutting Sony, and then going ahead and announcing, that as a buyout would have been huge. People would have been like, whoa. I'm sure then Xbox fans would have loved Returnal and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I find that to be very ironic. To me, people might go, oh, well, why would the company, probably maybe even give up more money and go with Sony? Well, I think leadership plays a big part in this, and what I mean by that is, if you just look at the leadership that is at Sony, it seems like they're a lot more on the ball and they have it together a lot more than what we see at Microsoft. And I'm not saying that Microsoft is bad per se, but what I am saying is that outside of the Bethesda stuff, which they kind of run themselves, what has Microsoft done in the last 3 years besides Gears and another Forza and another Halo? And Halo was a wreck, and Gears was kind of a wreck. So we do have that to kind of look at as gamers. We kind of look at the situation and go, well, Microsoft really does have trouble pushing out their own content. I mean, they've had some studio, and even look at something like Hellblade 2, now under the leadership guys of Microsoft, that got announced in 2019, and they're still in pre-production. Or something like State of Decay 3, and I'm not even a big State of Decay fan, but if we look at State of Decay 2, it came out in 2018, and here we are, and it's still in pre-production 3 years later for the next one. Or you look at Everwild, right? That was supposedly started in 2018, but it was announced in 2019. So and now it's got rebooted in 2021. So that game's probably not coming until 2024 or later. And in fact, if that game hadn't been announced when it was, it probably would have just got canceled under the table, and we would have never known anything about it. So again, I think it's easy to tell where leadership kind of is better, and it'll really just come down to I think being able to ship these games, to get these games out. Microsoft has an incredibly hard time doing that, and that is something that I've kind of been pointing out for a little bit now. And it's not really something that's that everybody will talk about, right? But if you go back and you look at what I'm talking about, is Yoshida went out to Sony Santa Monica when they were making God of War and played some of it and didn't like it. He said it wasn't fun, it wasn't good. They scrapped it, and then they made God of War 2018, which is, in my opinion, the best game ever made. Now, when we look at that from one standpoint, you've got to have that leadership that's willing to step up and go in there and say something like that. Like, where would we be if somebody had did that with Bleeding Edge? Maybe all those developers could have went out and helped on Hellblade 2, and that would be further along. You got to have somebody in that leadership role to tap them on the shoulder and say, that ain't it, chief. You got to have, so you can't just have like a bunch of people and studios that are all under one umbrella just doing their own thing. And I've made this kind of estimation before. Okay, imagine Marvel, under Disney. Okay, they plotted out the different phases well in advance. You can't just have different directors and different, you got to have it all cohesive and combined, and mid-credit scenes and stuff like that. Can you imagine if they didn't do any of that? It's got to all connect, and you've got to have studios that connect as well, right? Otherwise you get a Star Wars episode 7, 8, and 9 where 7 was decent, 8 was absolutely horrid and putrid, and 9, instead of being the finale of an epic saga, is spent a lot of the time having to rush through and retcon a lot of the terrible decisions made in 8 because there wasn't a cohesive thing. Those movies all should have been written out ahead of time with the clear and concise choices, so that they didn't have to do that. So You know, I do feel like Microsoft kind of misses the boat with that. But with that being said, what do you guys think? Do you guys think it would have been a huge blow if Microsoft would have bought Housemarque? I certainly think it would have been. I'm glad Sony picked them up. Thanks for watching. I'm going to check out the link below. It does. I'm going to list it. You guys can check it out. Rack them up. Happy Independence Day. Crapgamer out.